Hi, I'm Michael Clark. Welcome to the road trip. Today, in the Blue Ocean studio, we've got the 2013 Toyota Tacoma. Now, it's a very popular truck for Canadians, and there's so many different reasons as to why. Let's say you're looking to save as much fuel as possible when it comes to a pickup truck solution. Well, you're probably going to be looking at a 4x2 access cab with the 2.7-liter four-cylinder. It's still the Eco Energy Award winner, and that's 3 years running. Let's say you want a truck that has excellent resale value. Well, there's awards from Canadian Black Book as well as ALG. This is a truck that holds its value. Now, when we think about mid-sized trucks, we think about a lot of the trucks that have gone away. The Ford Ranger, as we knew it in North America, has just ended production recently, and it unfortunately wasn't a truck that changed with the times. One of the main issues with a mid-sized truck is that the efficiencies are hard to get, and unless you go to four-cylinder solutions, you're simply going to be dealing with a vehicle that could be getting the fuel economy of a much larger, more capable truck. But some people are looking at this truck not just from the efficiencies, but from the size. Is it garageable? Can I drive it? Can other members of the family drive it without being afraid of it? And when I need to use it like a truck, does it have the things that I want? For example, do I have the abilities for hooking up my power tools to make projects at the lake? Well, you'd be surprised how many cool features are in a truck that structurally is the same as the 2005 model. Now, we know that some other manufacturers are considering a return to the midsize market. We've heard rumors from Dodge as to the possibility of a new Dakota truck, and it could be a truck that's on a unibody platform. We've seen other trucks that exist in global markets, and we ask ourselves, how soon will it be until we see something like the Volkswagen Amarok, or maybe the global Ford Ranger that's a huge hit in places like Australia, make their way to these shores? Well, we're going to answer all those questions and more today. And if you've got thoughts, feelings, or questions about anything automotive, send us an email at honkyourhorn@live.ca. And listen to The Road Trip every Saturday on 680 CJOB for the latest in car news. Let's give you the rundown on the mills that are available for the Toyota Tacoma. Now, you can get a 2.7-liter inline four-cylinder in both 4x2 as well as 4x4 with the access cab. But when you go to V6, the only architecture underneath is going to be 4x4. Now, the V6 is the 4-liter variable valve timing with intelligence mill with 236 horsepower and 266 foot-pounds of torque. Now, with this configuration that involves the TRD package as well as a 5-speed electronically controlled automatic, we can actually yank 6,400 pounds with this Toyota Tacoma double cab. That's pretty impressive and probably going to be enough for most towing needs. Now, what we do like about the engine bay is that there are no service access issues. This is one of the cleanest compartments that we've seen in a long time. And when it comes to doing the things that you get to do these days, such as changing your fluids, you'll appreciate things like the oil filter, up high and easy to access. And for topping up any other fluids, it's all clearly marked, and you're not going to have to articulate anything to actually fill them up. Even the battery can be easily removed. Now, when it comes to efficiencies, let's talk about what the good people at Natural Resources tell us for 2013. Now, this 4-liter with the 5-speed automatic with 4x4 gets us 12.9 liters per 100 kilometers in the city and 9.6 liters per 100 kilometers rating on the highway. Now remember, those are the lab results, so your mileage will definitely vary. But this is the concern that a lot of people looking at these trucks have. Why go to a mid-sized truck which is getting fuel economy numbers that are very close to that of the full size? And as we mentioned, more people are considering these vehicles in respect to their size and drivability. So it really comes down to how much truck you absolutely need. But at this time, don't expect there to be a huge fuel economy improvement because you go down in size. You know, one of the most important tools that you need for your vehicle shop is the latest fuel consumption guide from Natural Resources Canada. Now, the 2013 guide is available now. All you have to do is head on over to vehicles.nrcan.gc.ca. You can look up individual vehicles online, but you can also request a copy of this booklet, and here's the best part, it's free. Not only does it give you the latest fuel economy figures for both city and highway on the most popular vehicles sold in Canada, but it also gives you the lowdown on things such as electric vehicles and how they're judged in respect to their consumption, even though they're not using 1 drop of gasoline. Now, remember that this is a free guide. We highly recommend it, and it will give you all the information that you need on the latest models. But if you also want fuel economy figures on past models, that information is also available to you at the website. Well, our video hacks expert Brian Park isn't with us this week, but that didn't stop me from fashioning a new steady mount for one of our cameras, because if there's one thing we're known for at the Road Trip, it's steady camera control. Now, the other thing we're known for is absolutely no budget. So that means that we've come up with something quite unique. Now, I just wanted to point out to our viewers that if my wife is looking for her Suzanne Summers Thighmaster, you didn't see anything. The Toyota Tacoma double cab has a 6-foot-long bed, but that's not where the cargo story ends. It's one of the best trimmed when it comes to a factory box liner and has the abilities to tie down just about any size of cargo. Now, what we like is the track system with the movable cleats, and all you have to do is unloosen them by hand and then simply press them in and move them into the position. And there's detents within those tracks, so you know that you're locked into place. Now, you can take these cleats and actually move them around the truck because you've also got a track at the front of the 6-foot bed. While we're looking at the front of the bed, I wanted to point out the sliding rear window, which is a manual unit on this particular double cab. So we'd like to see that being power, possibly at the lower TRD level, but we would also like it to be a rear defrost style of rear sliding window. It's available on a lot of other trucks, and it's time to see that occur for the Tacoma in a future generation. What I like about the Tacoma is the power, and I'm not just talking about the 4-liter V6, I'm talking about the 400 watts of available power with the built-in inverter system. And the plug-in is in the bed. So if you're going to be using it on the job site, you can be running things like circular saws, possibly your drill, maybe even a coffee maker. Now, the other thing to remember is that the robust feel of this bed, well, it can be a little bit more slippery than what you would expect with a rubberized spray and coating. So be mindful when you're moving around inside the truck if it's wet. Now, the tailgate, as you can see, is protected on the top, but it also has the backup camera. And the screen is housed in the rearview mirror, so it's a little bit tiny, but certainly still helpful. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of the Boy Racer style LED taillights, which is part of trying to freshen up the look, but LED is definitely going to be a lot more intense and easily seen. Now, let's talk safety. When it comes to Toyota Tacoma, it's actually a very good performer when it comes to the likes of the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. Now, when you go onto the site, you're going to notice something unique, and that's that the test results actually occur for model years from 2005 to 2013. So what does that tell us? That means that this design really hasn't had a lot of structural changes since then. So, if you've got a 2005 or a 2013 Tacoma, you actually have the top rating of good when it comes to the frontal impact. That's also the case with the side impact, as long as you're equipped with the side airbags, which are now standard equipment. The curtain airbags are also standard equipment on the Tacoma double cab, but what you also need to be aware of is the roof crush test. Now the Tacoma, remembering that it is a 2005 design, only scores marginal, but in 2005 the roof crush test wasn't even in play, so we can't go after them too hard for that. But it's marks like this that mean that the next generation Tacoma will have to improve to get the coveted Top Safety Pick Plus. And that's not just about the moderate overlap test for the frontal crash, that's also for the small overlap crash test. So we can be assured that the next generation truck will even be tougher. Now, I'd like to give our viewers a tip when it comes to keeping your truck looking as good as it can for as long as it can, and it has to do with the box sides. Now, what tends to happen with most box designs is all of the grime and the salt and the dirt can actually be shot up inside this fender. And what will happen is that it will usually collect right about here. So that's why when you see a lot of older trucks on the road, this is where corrosion tends to start. And once it's started, it's pretty hard to fix. Now, what you can do is make sure that you rinse out this area regularly. And one of the best access points on many vehicles is going to be at the taillight. Simply remove the taillight assembly, and in most cases you're going to find access holes large enough to put in the car wash wand. Spray this area out and make sure that you get a proper rust protective agent put into the fender wells. That's going to keep your truck looking as good as this 2013 for as long as possible. Now, when you go with the TRD Sport package on the Toyota Tacoma double cab, one of the things you're going to notice is the shocking blue toppers of the Bilstein shocks at all four corners, of course. But you also get 17-inch wheels. Now, on these 17-inch wheels is something that we appreciate, and Toyota Canada is really good about making sure that their tester vehicles come through in the winter months with proper winter tires. Now, these Michelins are the Latitude product with the X-Ice compound. Now, this is the X-Ice XI2 compound, but we did want to point out that they worked exceptionally well on ice with the auto limited slip differential that is equipped on 4x4 models. This particular vehicle, even without using four-wheel drive, does exceptionally well in two-wheel drive when it comes to icy conditions. So keep that in mind, that you may not have to necessarily leave it in 4 high for the entire duration of the winter months. Now, you can shift on the fly, but you should also remember that if you're going to be doing any extreme off-roading, to turn off your curtain side airbags. That's the RSCA off switch that's mounted on the dash. Now, all you have to do is hold that switch on until the indicator comes on in the instrument cluster. That makes sure that if you're at, say, 30 degrees kind of like this, that the airbag sensors are not going to deploy when you're out having just good old-fashioned four-wheel drive fun. Now, one of the concerns that I've had in all these years of testing trucks is that a lot of manufacturers don't go far enough when it comes to configuring the space for smart storage solutions. And also, whether or not you want to be using your truck for heading to the steakhouse or maybe weekend warrior duty. Well, the Tacoma double cab answers a lot of those questions. Now, what I've done is I've taken the lower seat cushion, flipped it forward, and brought down the seat back. Now, the reason I did that was to show you that we get a pretty flat surface here with the rough and tumble ABS covering, and it's easily wiped off if you get it soiled. But to make it easy, you've got to be able to flip those headrests down. Now, on the outboard positions of the Tacoma double cab, you've got a lever which allows you to do that. Now, it doesn't stop there, because behind the seat backs, there's additional storage with a unique reconfigurable divider system. So if you're trying to hold certain items in place, keep them from rattling around, it's easily done. There's even an additional storage tray for tools. Now, speaking of tools, your jacking tools are located underneath the passenger side of the bottom seat cushion, which gives you a little bit more storage, but there's an additional storage compartment underneath the driver's side for the bottom seat cushion in the rear. Now, add to this the ample door pockets plus the rear seat back pockets, and you just might run out of stuff before you run out of space.
Pupils, pupils, the time is here to say our lessons loud and clear. Now, in a sentence, which of you can use these words, both big and new?
Studebaker, Studebaker.
Studebaker. Studebaker?
Yes, sirree, that's Studebaker.
But I asked you for big and new. Now, please do what I asked you to.
Everyone knows who's broad and peeled, the big new choice in a low-price field.
Studebaker?
Studebaker.
Big new Studebaker. Craftsmanship with a flair. The standout car in the low price field, the only car in the low price field that's really, really new. Studebaker, Studebaker, big new Studebaker. Big new Studebaker. And now the time has come for you to see the one car really new. To take a drive in this freewheeler at your Studebaker dealer. Or if a used car owner you'd be, it's just as easy as ABC. Always buy certified. Easy as that. Dial your deal or grab your hat. Down to a Studebaker dealer's we'll go. They're the finest cars in town, you know. Studebaker. Studebaker's the name to say. See your dealer right away.
There's plenty of good storage solutions inside the front portion of the Toyota Tacoma double cab. Now, each front door pocket holds 2 bottles, plenty of hydration for you and your passenger. But if that's not enough, you've also got the 2 cup holders ahead of the shifter. Now, they've got the removable rubberized cinchers, and it's been set up in such a way to accommodate the handles that normally occur with the coffee cups. Ahead of that is another open storage cubby, and directly above it you've got twin 12-volt DC plug-ins for accessories and the controls for the heated seats. The heated seats work exceptionally well on this Toyota Tacoma, and you can dial in the setting that's just right for you or your front passenger. There's a USB auxiliary input plug-in for the audio system. The audio system is of the touchscreen variety. We've seen it on other Toyota products, and it works well. The storage console is deep, but it doesn't have any additional power plug-ins, and it would have made a lot of sense to possibly have the abilities for the auxiliary or the USB to be located inside, away from prybar eyes. The 4-wheel drive control is located to the right of the driver, easily accessed on the dash, never leaving the line of sight. There's 2 sunglasses holders directly above, and the visors are of the illuminated variety for the mirrors, and additional blocker panes keep the sun out of your eyes while you're driving. This particular Toyota Tacoma is equipped with Bluetooth connectivity for both your audio players as well as your phone. It should be noted that this is not the voice-activated variety of Bluetooth. So when it comes to actually using your phone, the system will not actually let you dial from the screen of the head unit when the vehicle is in motion, which is just downright safe and sensible. Steering wheel mounted controls include audio as well as audio mode. The cruise control is located in the usual 4 p.m. position. The steering wheel itself has exceptional thumb locators in its leather wrap and is tilt and telescoping to get the right position for the driver. An additional storage cubby is located to the left of the driver, good for keeping change. Instrumentation is well spaced and easy to read at all levels. A compass mirror with outside temperature reading and a HomeLink transmitter are included in the rearview interior mirror. The exterior mirrors, while being power and having the repeaters to make sure that people know of your intentions, unfortunately do not have heated capability, an absolute must for Canadian conditions. There's an additional cubby directly below the four-wheel drive controls. They've definitely done a lot of thinking as to where and how you might be using a Toyota Tacoma in respect to storage of all of your needed items. When considering Tacoma, remember that the height of the floor might make it difficult for taller drivers. It's not so much that your knees are in your mouth, but you will notice that the height of the seats and the floor is definitely different from some of the other trucks on the market. Now, the driver's seat does have a dial-in lumbar control and manual recline as well as fore and aft movement, but there's no additional adjustments for height.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the return of the legendary Chevrolet mark, the Chevrolet Camaro Z 28. Woo! This is for all of us who want a Camaro that's absolutely built for the track. Dubbed code word HP inside of GM, this is something that we have longed to do, and now we have done it. And I don't mean this is just built for speed. This is not simply a straight line 0 to 60 drag strip car, although you can do that if you want. This is a car set up for track perfection, just like the original Z28. It has a high revving, naturally aspirated small block LS7 V8 with an estimated 500 horsepower and 470 foot-pounds of torque. It has a standard rear differential cooler, transmission cooler, brake coolers, and carbon ceramic brakes made especially for track use with no fade. And we took a lot of weight out of this car. We ripped out the trunk carpet and the insulation. Not bad. We installed thinner glass for the rear window. Not bad. We made air conditioning optional. And we removed all the speakers except one. I wanted to take all of them out, but you have to have one of those so you can hear the seatbelt chime. So we left one in. If you want a street-legal track car, and I know not everyone does, but if you do, this car is for you. I know it's the car for me, and I think a lot of other people are going to love it once they drive it. It is the real deal. Several of our engineers have described the grip as nothing short of incredible. It is the defining point for the Gen 5 Camaro, and it's straight out of the legend of Mark Donahue 302 engines, acid-dipped panels, and all of the Trans Am race cars.
Well, that's my take on the 2013 Toyota Tacoma 4x4 in double cab version. But every time I look at this truck, it makes me feel young. And I think it's because it makes me feel like it's 2005. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Because remember, the Nissan Frontier design has been around about the same amount of years. One has to ask, if it ain't broke, do you fix it? But they're going to have to think about it. And that has to do with the possibilities of what could be coming. Now, we've seen a lot of interesting concepts over the years at the auto shows, and from manufacturers that we never really thought of for entering into the North American truck market. We believe that the North American truck market is very unique, but I think there's some universal thought when it comes to what people actually want in a truck. And I think part of that has to be borrowed from the new age of commercial vehicles that is coming into play. Now, we never really thought of a van like an Econoline being attractive, and we certainly didn't feel that way about the Ford Transit Connect. But now we're actually taking vehicles like the Ford Transit Connect, as well as competing ones from Nissan, and also rebadged ones for the Dodge Camp that started out life as Fiats, and we're saying to ourselves, wait a minute, we don't need these vehicles to be attractive, we need them to be ultra functional. That could be the foothold that the mid-size truck market actually gets their hands around. And that could be the change that I've been wanting to see for years, even in full-size trucks. How many times have you been trying to get into the back of the bed and slipped and fell on your keister? Well, doing things like footholds on the side of the beds, making sure that things aren't slippery, putting in unique storage solutions like the Ram box. There's so many ideas that we could play with here, and it's all about making this truck actually work. The one that I actually think of is the Honda Ridgeline. And I know a lot of truck people out there are going to definitely be wagging their fingers about even calling it a truck. But think about some of the unique capabilities that the Ridgeline has, such as the in-box storage. That's an absolutely great idea and something we'd like to see on more regular trucks. Well, the question is, who will be the biggest competitor for the next generation of Tacoma? Will it be Nissan? Will it be the new Chevrolet Colorado, assuming it actually gets here? Or will it be somebody with a name that we never really thought of in midsize, full-size, or anything North American for truck? Could it be a Kia Mojave? Possible, but we also want to make sure that we see sensible solutions for our market. We don't want to see the Australian Utes like the likes of Holden or possibly the Ford Falcon. Those are simply trucks that aren't going to make sense in our market, other than making the possibilities of the Ford Ranchero or the Chevrolet El Camino name come back, and that's a specialized market at best. What we need in North America is four-wheel drive capability, plenty of power to tug, and an interior that doesn't feel like you've cheaped out and makes a lot of sense for the road warriors, whether they be the ones that head up to the lake or head to the skyscrapers. Now, if you've got thoughts, feelings, or questions about anything automotive, send an email to honkyourhorn@live.ca. And listen to The Road Trip on 680 CJOB every Saturday from 10 till noon for the latest from the world of car. I'm Michael Clark. Keep the shiny side up and the rubber side down.